Good morning and glad to have you join us on News Bites live broadcast. It's a compilation of news making rounds in Nigeria today. It's always a pleasure to have you join us. My name is Oluwa Mayomikun. Good morning. Today is the 11th of October 2017. It's a Wednesday. Anywhere you are in the world, I believe you are still in Wednesday. Some are just entering Wednesday, some are exiting Wednesday, and some are really in the middle of Wednesday, the 11th of October. Permit me to share this broadcast on our timeline, on my timeline, so that my friends can avail themselves of the news, the robust news package that we have for you today. We also encourage that you support us by sharing the same broadcast on your timeline so that your friends can also enjoy it. So as soon as I share that, we'll be back to offer you, to give you a robust package of news today. Welcome once again. All right, I'm sharing on my timeline. It will just take a few seconds, I believe. Yes, few seconds. All right. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay, I've shared to my timeline. It takes just a few seconds, so you also can take time out to share to your timeline. President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday met behind closed doors with service chiefs, Minister of Defense, retired Brigadier Mansour Dan Ali, and the National Security Advisor, retired Major General Babagana Munguno. The service chiefs at the meeting include Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Olonishakin, Chief of Army Staff, Major General Tuko Buratai, Chief of Naval Staff, Rear Admiral Ibot Eke, Ekwa Ibaz, and the Chief of Air Staff, AFM Sadiq Abubakar. Also in attendance were Director General of the State Security Service, Lawal Daura, the Acting Director of the Nigeria Intelligence Agency, Ambassador Arab Yadam, and the representative of the Inspector General of Police. President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday requested the National Assembly to approve $5.5 billion foreign loan to fund capital component of the 2017 budget and refinance maturing domestic debt obligations. The President's letter, dated October 4, was separately read by Senate President Bukola Saraki and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, yesterday. The letter was read a week after the Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, claimed approval of the loan request was being delayed by the National Assembly. The foreign loan is in two parts. The first part of $2.5 billion is for the implementation of the external borrowing approved in the 2017 Appropriation Act. The second part of $3 billion is to refinance maturing domestic debts. Recall that recently the National Bureau of Statistics reported that Nigeria's total debt profile rose by $4.33 billion in 2 years to hit $15.05 billion in 2011. The foreign and domestic debt statistics of the country as of June 2017 showed that the country's domestic and foreign debts as of June 30 were $15.1 billion and 14.1 trillion naira respectively. All right, federal government and the World Bank have set aside $350 million to address malnutrition and stunting among 13 million Nigerian children, the Minister of Health, Isaac Adewale, has said. The minister spoke at the opening of a two-day conference on maternal child nutrition in Nigeria, organized by the House of Representatives Committee on Healthcare Services in collaboration with UNICEF. Represented by the Director of Family Health in the Ministry, Dr. Adebimpe Adebiyi, Adewale said already the sum of 1.2 billion naira is budgeted for the procurement of a ready-to-use therapeutic food paste for treatment of severe acute malnutrition in this year's budget. Declaring the hearing open, Speaker Yakubu Dogara expressed concern on the scourge of malnutrition in the country, calling on lawmakers at all levels to help in curbing the menace. Federal government says it will not relent in its yam export policy, which is aimed at attracting foreign exchange for the country. Aldo Ogbe, the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, said this during a sensitization walk in commemoration of the World Food Day in Abuja yesterday. Ogbe, who was reacting to the rejection of yams recently exported to Britain, said the policy has come to stay. The minister said the setback will not deter the dealers of the. Recall that the yams export initiative was flagged off on June 29, and the consignment exported to the US recently was rejected. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Dr. Ibe Kachuku, and Group Managing Director of NNPC, Dr. Mayomikun, met on Tuesday ongoing Nigerian Economic Summit opportunities. Okay, let's go over that again. I think go off hotspot. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Dr. Ibe Kachuku, and Group Managing Director of NNPC, Dr. Mayomikun, met on Tuesday in Abuja at the ongoing Nigerian Economic Summit at the Energy Policy Committee session and discussed opportunities to further develop the nation's oil and gas sector. The duo had been involved in controversies over alleged misapplication of funds at the NNPC, leading to the intervention of President Muhammadu Buhari. Baru, who led a session, came first at the venue of the program, while Kachuku walked in some few minutes later. As soon as the Minister of State entered, Baru stood up, approached him, and explained pleasantries with him. Kachuku also suggested that he be represented at the second session of the dialogue by Baru, a request the organizers declined because Baru was to chair a session as it would affect his participation. Kachuku left while the breakout held and did not return until the end of the closing session. Baru stood in for him as the chairman of the session, and when he returned, he joined as the co-chairman. At the end of the program, they exchanged pleasantries further, took some photographs, chatted, and walked out of the hall together. Well, this is interesting so that at least Nigerians will know that Baru and Kachuku are not exchanging blows when they see. On the opportunities in Nigerian oil and gas industry, Kachuku said the industry has enormous potentials evolving on a daily basis. He, however, said that the operating environment is tough, adding that the federal government is looking at areas it could provide incentives to boost returns for investors to attract more investors into the industry. He said the federal government is putting in place modalities to increase the scope of its earnings in the industry. Baru listed the opportunities in the forthcoming marginal oil fields bid round, adding that a successful completion of the process will present a veritable opportunity for Nigeria to grow its crude oil output and create employment. Nigerian mission in South Africa has confirmed the killing of a 25-year-old Nigerian, Ibrahim Olalekan Badmus, a native of Lagos State. The killing occurred less than a week after Jelili Omoyele, a 35-year-old cell phone technician, was shot dead near Johannesburg. Godwin Adama, Nigeria's Consul General in South Africa, disclosed that Badmus was allegedly killed by a South African police officer on Tuesday, also near Johannesburg, but at a different location. Now, I quote the Consul General. He says, "I led a delegation from the mission to visit the scene on receipt of the information. When we arrived at the scene, the place was tensed up because Nigerians were not happy." Adama said the mission intervened and calmed down the situation. Of course, it goes on to say, "We immediately met with the station commander in the area with some selected Nigerians. The police assured that a thorough investigation will be carried out." We hope that these killings will stop, as we go. ECOWAS Community Court of Justice has ordered the federal government of Nigeria to pay $75,000, which is like 27 million naira, as compensation in a case of violation of right to life. Presiding Judge Justice Friday Uwoke yesterday ordered that the compensation be paid to Wing Commander Danladi Angulukwasu, retired, for the death of his son El Shaddai in Kaduna State. The applicant alleged that his late 19-year-old son, who was a cadet in the Nigerian Defense Academy, died on April 30, 2015 during a watermanship training. He alleged that the deceased was forced to take part in the exercise even when he mentioned that he could not swim. He said relevant authorities failed to investigate the matter or prosecute officials accordingly, adding that his son was pushed into the Kangimi Dam, a 100-meter deep lake where the training was held without the necessary safety equipment. The court ruled that negligence and incompetence of the authorities was unlawful and a violation of the right to life of the applicant in line with international laws. The court further ordered that the federal government should investigate the matter and prosecute those found culpable. Federal government on Tuesday, through the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, filed two separate sets of charges against the senator representing Bauchi Central Senatorial District, Issa Misau. One of the two sets of charges filed before the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja stemmed from the running battle between Misau and the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris. In the case filed before the FCT High Court, the prosecution preferred against Misau, a retired Deputy Superintendent of Police, 5 counts of making injurious falsehood against Idris and the Nigerian police force based on various allegations of corruption made by the senator against the IGP in the media. Part of the allegations by Misau considered injurious to the IGP and the Nigerian police force was that police officers allegedly paid as much as 2.5 million naira to get special promotion and posting through the Police Service Commission. The federal lawmaker also accused the IGP of allegedly diverting money meant for the purchase of armored personnel carriers, sport utility vehicles, and other exotic cars. Misau was also said to have falsely accused the IGP of making almost half of the mobile commanders in the country the people of his Nupe extraction. We'll monitor and see how that goes. Registrar West African Examination Council, WAEC, Dr. E. Uwade, has raised alarm that some private candidates writing its examination have devised notorious acts of drugging supervisors, while some even bring guns to examination halls. Uwade raised the alarm at a briefing in Lagos to announce the convocation of an international summit on examination malpractice between October 19 and 20 this year. According to Uwade, while the examination body will not be requesting permission from government to arm its personnel, it has nonetheless become expedient to cry out to let the populace understand the danger the examination body and its supervisors are facing from candidates who are hell-bent in perpetrating examination malpractices. I quote him now. He says, "The menace of examination malpractice has taken a new dimension because the lives of our WAEC staff and supervisors are now being threatened. It is like the case of custom officers who were being killed by smugglers, and the government had to order its officers to start carrying guns. In our own case, we won't ask that our staff be armed with guns, but we must make it known to the world that some of the private candidates writing our exams now bring guns to the examination halls, while some even drug the drinks given to their supervisors." I quote that's Uwade speaking there. That's a terrible development. Okay, we go ahead now. Over 3 million bottles of codeine syrup are consumed daily in Kano and Jigawa states by women and youths, the Senate said yesterday. The revelation was sequel to the adoption of a motion by Senator Baba Kaka Bashir Gabai. Okay, let's go with Baba Gabai and 37 others on the need to check the rising menace of pharmaceutical drug abuse among youths. Gabai said research has shown that abusers of the codeine syrup in Kano and Jigawa states take up to 3 to 8 bottles per day. He said while the abuse of prescriptive drugs and cough syrups have been thought to be a concern, has been thought to be a problem typical in the northwestern part of the country, investigations have shown an incredible spike in drug abuse in Borno State and the northeast ravaged by Boko Haram. He said that the abuse of cough syrup has become so widespread in recent years that even secondary school students use them regularly. Accordingly, the Senate mandated its Joint Committee on Drugs and Narcotics and Health to bring forward a legislative intervention needed to combat the trend. It also urged the federal government to partner with states, local governments, traditional rulers, Pharmacists Council of Nigeria, NGOs to create a holistic framework in fighting this category of drug abuse. The upper chamber also urged the federal government to establish rehabilitation centers and clinics for the victims of drug abuse. Senate President Bukola Saraki said the NDLEA and PCN Acts should be amended to capture the development. He also said a roundtable will be convened by the Senate to provide lasting solution to this menace. Senate yesterday approved, Senate yesterday approved 146 billion naira for the Federal Inland Revenue Service in 2017, with 975 million naira provided for cleaning and fumigation center. The approval followed consideration of the report of Senate Committee on Finance chaired by Senator John Eno during plenary session yesterday. The service got the Senate's nod to spend 1.5 billion naira on generator fare cost, 650 million naira for motor vehicle fare cost, 750 million naira for refreshment and meals, 2.75 billion naira for publicity, advert and taxpayers' education, 1.3 billion naira for welfare packages. In 2016, the service got 530 million naira for this, and 120 million naira for sporting activities. The Senate slashed down the 1.75 billion naira proposal for the purchase of vehicles to 1.5 billion naira and inserted 200 million naira for what it tagged annual budget expenses and administration. On social benefits, the Senate approved 700 million naira for reward for outstanding service, 50 million naira for death benefits. The service is to also spend 2.1 billion naira for both local and foreign grants and contributions. The Senate also approved 1.3 billion naira for utility charges, which include electricity, telephone, internet, satellite water, and sewage charges. The FRS budget has already been passed by the House of Representatives. Meanwhile, the Senate has stepped down the budget of Central Bank of Nigeria, Sugar Development Council, Industrial Training Fund, Standard Organization of Nigeria, Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Nigeria Customs Service, among others, for further legislative actions. House of Representatives on Tuesday summoned the Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, over the outbreak of monkeypox in the country. The House took the decision in Abuja just as the National Center for Disease Control confirmed that 31 cases of the disease have been recorded in Bayelsa, Rivers, Ekiti, Akwa Ibom, Ogun River, and Lagos states. At its plenary in Abuja, presided over by the Speaker, Yakubu Dogara, the House was alarmed that the disease is spreading while it appeared that the Federal Ministry of Health is helpless. A lawmaker from Bayelsa State, Diri Duye, raised the issue under matters of urgent national importance, praying that a minister should be summoned. The prayer was immediately passed in a unanimous voice vote. Lawmakers expressed concern that a country as big as Nigeria did not have a laboratory. Lawmakers expressed concern that a country as big as Nigeria does not have a laboratory to respond to the health emergency without first sending specimens to Dakar, Senegal, for investigations. The minister is to explain the actions taken so far by the federal government to contain the spread of the disease. Also, the Senate urged the federal government to liaise with WHO and other donor agencies as Nigeria continues the fight against monkeypox. The panel constituted by the ruling APC on True Federalism yesterday visited Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, as part of its nationwide consultations to have input of all stakeholders. The chairman of the panel and Kaduna State Governor, Nasir El-Rufai, was accompanied by other members of the panel, said the visit was necessitated by the fact that the National Assembly is the right platform to aggregate such projects. Responding, Dogara said that the APC as a party has the right people that will take the yearnings of Nigerians on agitations and work out what is best suited for the country without fear or favor. Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu has advocated a single-term presidency of 5 or 6 years for Nigeria and other African countries to deepen democracy and good governance. Ekweremadu spoke while delivering a lecture on Tuesday at an event organized by the Center for Media and Peace Initiatives in New York a New York-based international NGO to mark its 10th anniversary. According to him, a single term of 4 years is also less costly, as it will reduce the cost of conducting general elections every 4 years. Ekweremadu urged Nigeria and other African countries to learn from the failures and successes of older democracies, particularly the Latin American democracies. Ekweremadu also suggested a rotational presidency among the ethnic groups or geographical zones, saying it might prove reassuring to ethnic groups and promote loyalty to the nation. He suggested a modification of the present presidential system to curtail presidential excesses and, importantly, create greater overlap and affinity between the executive and the legislative arms of government. He called for measures to check imperial presidency in Africa and the excesses of many leaders who are allegedly tyrannical and abusive as the military and civilian despots they criticized and replaced. Senator Ahmed McCarthy, National Chairman, National Caretaker Committee of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), has reaffirmed the party's commitment to honoring its zoning agreement. He stated this on Tuesday in Abuja in a meeting with northern leaders and elders of PDP to harmonize the region's position on the zoning arrangement for the 2019 general elections and the party's convention in December. Recently, a ranking member of the party and the governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, declared his intention to run for the highest position in Nigeria, flouting the party's zoning of the position to the north. McCarthy therefore urged party members to respect the zoning arrangement, saying that it is one of the decisions taken at the Port Harcourt Convention in May. The chairman called for constructive engagement among the zones on the zoning arrangement in a way that nobody will be denied his fundamental human rights. He further called for unity among PDP members, without which the party will find it difficult to regain power in 2019. One of the conveners of the meeting, Professor Jerry Ghana, advised the party to elect the best candidates in accordance with its zoning formula. Ghana urged PDP members to dismiss the recent declaration of a presidential ambition by Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose. He said that the party's presidential ticket for 2019 has been zoned to the north and it remains sacrosanct. Okay, that's an interesting one. We'll see how that one goes within the PDP. Anambra State Commissioner of Police Garba Umar has reassured residents of the state of the command's readiness to provide adequate security before, during, and after the November 18 governorship election in the state. He said his officers will go after anybody or group that will constitute threats to the smooth conduct of the poll. Umar, who is also the chairman of INEC's Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security, gave the assurance yesterday at the end of their meeting at the INEC headquarters in Oka. He said the meeting is a follow-up of the one held last month, noting that after review of security issues, it is certain that the coast is clear for a peaceful conduct of the election. Umar also dismissed the boycott threats by the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, as empty. Sokoto State House of Assembly on Tuesday suspended two of its members, Sani Yakubu, APC representing Gudu, and Malami Galadanchi, also APC representing Sokoto North 1. The two lawmakers were suspended for unethical conduct. The Assembly had set up a special committee to investigate the conduct of the two members during the recent impeachment of the Deputy House Leader, Kabiru Ibrahim. The committee, headed by Habibu Modachi, APC, also representing Isa, in its report said the two members had pleaded guilty to the charges against them. Subsequently, the Assembly accepted the report and suspended Yakubu for 40 legislative days, while Galadanchi was suspended for 30 legislative days. The two are also to submit separate letters of apology to the Assembly. The Speaker, Salihu Maidaji, presided over the House sitting. Primary schools in Damaturu, Yobe reopened on Tuesday, 24 hours after they were hurriedly closed following rumor of alleged injection of pupils on the head and navel. Parents had stormed the schools on Monday and evacuated their children when rumors circulated that a non-governmental organization was administering injection. A teacher at Al-Marami Primary School, who refused to have his name in the media, said they heard of the rumor and was advised to close the school. Dr. Bello Kawuwa, the Yobe Commissioner for Health, said at a press briefing that things have calmed down as the parents have realized that the rumor is unfounded. Also, the State Universal Basic Education Board and Coordinator UN Humanitarian Affairs in the state have dismissed the claim. Meanwhile, Kaduna State government says its target is to immunize 1 million children under the age of 5 years against measles. Malam Hamza Ikara, the Deputy Director, Kaduna Primary Healthcare Development Agency, who said this during a media sensitization meeting on Tuesday in Kaduna, revealed that the exercise will be conducted in 2 phases across the state beginning from October 26th. The first phase is starting October 26 to 31 with 13 local government areas, while the second phase will come up from November 2 to 7 in 10 local government areas, and it will cover a total of 1,168 primary health facilities in the state. Ikara called on parents and caregivers to ensure that their children and wards get the measles vaccine. Benue State government is to build 6 pilot ranches to facilitate the effective implementation of the anti-open grazing law. Governor Samuel Otom signed the law, which he said will check incessant clashes between farmers and herders on May 2nd this year. The law is expected to take effect from November 1, 2017. Colonel Edwin Jando, retired special advisor to Otom on security, at the end of a critical stakeholders meeting for the implementation of the law on Tuesday in Makurdi, explained that the pivot ranches will be used as a confine for impounded cattle, explaining that they will be kept in the confinement for 7 days before being auctioned or the owner fined. He said that the ranches will be situated at strategic locations, preferably at boundary points. According to him, the ranches will be located at Kwande, Katsina Ala, Ukum, Guma, and Makurdi, while another one will be located between Gwestout and Agatu. Jando clarified that government will not build ranches for herdsmen and advised interested herdsmen to acquire land through the due processes to build their own ranches. In his speech, Professor Daniel Uza, the guest speaker at the meeting, said that the cattle value chain has become a major security challenge in the state. Uza, a former vice chancellor of Federal University of Agriculture, Makurdi, opined that the country needs to adopt ranching for the effective protection of herders and landowners. There were reports of heavy exchange of gunfire between Boko Haram and Nigerian military forces in Goza town yesterday evening. The Nigerian military forces were said to be on top of the situation as the town became calm after an hour of heavy gunfire. Earlier on Tuesday, the Nigerian army dismissed as falsehood alleged killing of 30 troops by ISIS in an ambush on troops engaged in the counter-insurgency campaign in the northeast. A section of the media had reported that ISIS ambushed and killed 30 Nigerian troops on Friday in the region. Colonel Onyema Nwachukwu, the Deputy Director, Army Public Relations, Theater Command Operation Lafia Dole, made the denial in a statement issued in Maiduguri. Nwachukwu said that contrary to the report, there was no such attack on troops of Operation Lafia Dole by ISIS or any other adversary within or outside the theater of operation. He explained that the concocted report is unsubstantiated and lacks credibility. The spokesman stressed that the troops have sustained devastating attacks on the Boko Haram insurgents in precursor operations in the theater of operation. National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) in Nasarawa State has confirmed the release of Blessing Nwapa, the kidnapped batch 8-1 female youth corps member posted to the state. The NYSC coordinator in the state, Zainab Issa, confirmed the release of the corps member to newsmen in Lafia on Tuesday. Issa said that Nwapa from Abia State, who was kidnapped on Friday, October 6 in Udege Mbeki community, was released on Sunday. She was kidnapped on Friday on her way from the bank in company of some other corps members. They were robbed, and after that, she was picked up and taken away. She was the only female among them that day. The coordinator explained that the NYSC, in collaboration with the state government, security agencies, and the traditional ruler of Osu Ojiri, Alhaji Halilu Bala Usman, swung into action to effect her release. The coordinator, however, refuted claims that the UCOR member was raped by her kidnappers. She said all necessary medical investigations carried out at Federal Medical Center in Kefi proved otherwise. Meanwhile, DSP Idrisu Kennedy, the spokesman of the police command in the state, also confirmed the rescue of the kidnapped female corps member. He said that efforts are on the way to arrest the kidnappers and bring them to justice. Meanwhile, 2 members of the NYC have drowned in a river in Asakio community, Lafia local government area of Nasarawa State. Hajia Zainab Isa, the NYC coordinator, stated that Ogutola Babatunde and Danju Masalihu went to the river in the evening of October 8th to swim but drowned, following which an assistant commissioner of police informed the service about the incident. She called on other corps members to be very careful and always obey the rules of their host communities. Issa added that the bodies of the deceased had been deposited at the Dahatu Arab Specialist Hospital in Lafia. Oyo State Governor Abiola Ajimobi on Tuesday reported the Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Saliu Adetunji, to President Muhammadu Buhari. Ajimobi told State House correspondents that he called the president's attention to the face-off between him and the monarch over the recently reviewed Olubadan chieftaincy declaration. He said he also called the president's attention to the fact that the crisis created by the review has been politicized, having been hijacked by a politician who is interested in his office. The governor said out of the 9 surviving members of the Olubadan Council, only Rashidi Ladoja, a former governor of the state, who is also the OC Olubadan of Ibadan land, is interested in the 2019 governorship race and is the one not supporting the review. You may recall that Ladoja is contesting the review in court. The governor said he, however, assured Buhari that although the Olubadan deserved to be deposed based on his actions so far, he will not remove him because of the father-son relationship existing between them. Ajimobi said that the president was glad after he briefed him on the development because he knew he was saying the truth. Workers in Benue State have suspended the strike they embarked upon 2 weeks ago to protest against the failure of the government to pay their salaries. The labor unions, in a communique read on Tuesday night in Makurdi by its national chairman of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Peter Ozoeson, directed workers in the state to resume work today, Wednesday. The communique states that government undertakes to source for funds and pay 2 months arrears between Thursday, October 12th, and Friday, October 13, 2017. It added that the state government promised to exercise fiscal discipline, control its overheads, mop up all areas of leakages, as well as increase its internally generated revenue to be able to ensure payment of monthly salaries. And both parties shall continue to dialogue on all issues or matter affecting the welfare of workers and pensioners in the state. One person was reportedly shot yesterday in Ado-Ekiti as commercial drivers under the platform of National Union of Road Transport Workers staged a violent protest over alleged detention of a member of the union, Ahmed Kolo, by Governor Ayodele Fayose. Kolo was arraigned for being allegedly rude to the governor, an action that prompted commercial drivers to take to the streets for several hours, causing hardship for motorists traveling to Ikere-Ekiti from the state capital. The driver, who was said to have driven recklessly against Fayose on September 24, when the governor personally drove to Ajilosun area in Ado-Ekiti, was immediately arraigned at the Ado-Ekiti Magistrates Court for traffic offense. The protesters made bonfires on roads and sang anti-Fayose songs, forcing many people off the streets and markets. It took over 100 policemen to bring the situation under control. Secretary to the state government, Dr. Modupe Alade, said the driver was rude to the governor and refused to apologize, saying this accounted for why he was arrested and taken to court for traffic offense. The state police PRO Alberto Adeyemi insisted that nobody was shot. Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu has suspended the activities of the Amalgamated Commercial Motorcycle Riders Association of Nigeria in the state. The governor on Tuesday also gave a directive that the executive body of the association in the state should be dissolved with immediate effect. A statement by the chief press secretary to the governor, Segun Ajiboye, explained that the action of the state governor is sequel to a series of complaints about illegal activities of commercial motorcycle operators in the state. The statement also advised commercial motorcycle riders in the state to comply with the directive and maintain peace. It added that Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Special Duties and Strategy will henceforth manage the affairs of the Transport Union until issues in contention are sorted out. Lastly, 3 aviation unions on Tuesday gave the federal government 15 days ultimatum to halt its planned concession of the 4 viable airports in the country. The unions, which gave the ultimatum at a joint news briefing in Lagos, threatened to shut down the aviation industry if government fails to accede to their demands. The unions are Air Transport Services Senior Staff Association of Nigeria and the National Union of Air Transport Engineers, Air Transport Employees, and its ally, the Nigerian Union of Pensioners. Federal government had initiated moves to concession the Lagos, Abuja, Kano, and Port Harcourt airports to enable them meet international standards. However, the General Secretary of NOATE, Olayinka Abiyoye, said the ultimatum is the union's last resort to force the Minister of State for Aviation, Senator Hadi Sirika, to fully involve them in the concession process. He maintained that previous concession agreements have not been beneficial as it has ended in series of litigations against the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria before various courts in the country. According to him, the unions are yet to be assured of the fate of the 6,285 staff and 4,124 pensioners of FAN if the concession of the viable airport is allowed to proceed. He said the operations of the other 18 airports, which depended on the 4 viable ones, will also be in jeopardy as no concrete plan had been made for their survival after the completion of the concession process. Also speaking, the General Secretary of ATSAN, Francis Akinjole, advised government to kickstart the plan with 1 or 2 underutilized airports as a pilot scheme, stressing that its success will give confidence to stakeholders for the concession of the major ones. That's the much we can take this morning, but we can tell that it's a robust package feeding you with the information from all over Nigeria. My name is Oluwa Mayomikun. Join us tomorrow for another robust package of news. Have a wonderful day.